This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, I didn't even notice this. I got my Killebrew hat on. Killebrew root beer hat. Reminds me to say Merry Christmas to Pat Eberts. It was his account forever. And what the hell? So a couple of things before we launch into the show. I mean, we've already launched into the show, but launched into other people on the show. I've just been going through some stuff on X and on Facebook, and it makes me laugh when people like Robert De Niro post on there and basically said, if you voted for so-and-so, you're stupid. Robert, tell you what. Put up all the dough you got. I will test against you in any way, shape, or form. Mentally, physically, socially. You were an overpaid, overworked, used to be good, and now lame actor. Shut the hell up. I mean, you go on social media and call people stupid. Why? Because they went to your movies? Why would you ever do that?
Like, what's the point? Like,
yeah, I know.
Who hurt you, Robert?
And at this point now, it's just like, I feel like we've reached a point in society where I really think people don't care as much about a celebrity's take on what to do or, you know, who to vote for and stuff like that. Like, obviously we see with like the super top stars, like when Taylor Swift announced like, hey, go and vote. There was a discussion about that. But when I hear Robert De Niro is saying, you know, so-and-so, let's do this to crack down on this tax code or whatever, I'm like, I don't really care, man.
Right. And also, like, okay, if you're going to say one side or the other is stupid for whoever they voted for, like, the election's over. Like, there's nothing you can do about it right now. Like,
exactly right. So all you Hollywood multi-millionaires, shut up. You're not involved in this in any way, shape, or form. I know you're trying to look good to the public so you get even more work and you make more money. You're a phony bastard. I met the first Italian I don't like, Robert De Niro. I love Italians, but not you, Robert. You pain in the ass. Actually, he used to be a neighbor of mine when Catherine and I lived in New York. Never saw him, but he was a neighbor, yeah. Yeah, he's not a very friendly person. Like I said, I've never met him, so I don't know.
At any time a random celebrity kind of pops their head out and makes a comment, I always search to see if they have any upcoming projects that they name out there in the media for.
Well, what do you think?
Coming out in 2025, really? Alto Nights, starring Robert De Niro.
And when does that open, Tevin?
Yeah, so that's supposed to be coming out sometime in 2025. Release date March 21st. It looks like my birthday. So I'll be.
It's your birthday.
Yeah, we're all going to go see Alto Kings.
Is that about like guys who play the saxophone? Alto Kings?
It looks like a mob type movie.
No, Robert De Niro in a mob movie? Who ever heard of it? Look, Robert, I used to love you as an actor. You and Pacino together were unbelievable. You and Marlon Brando and I. Shut up and let me enjoy your acting because you're a moron. And again, you want to take somebody on, I will take you on in any test, any physical, mental, emotional. You're a waste of time now. Why would you do these things?
How about you go make another Shark Tale movie, Robert?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Something for the kids. Then, all jokes aside, that's one of my favorite like trivia things is the cast of that movie because nobody ever suspects that it's Shark Tale.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's got like Martin Scorsese voices a character. I think Will Smith, Angelina Jolie, Robert De Niro, like Jack Black, and it's like, yeah, Shark Tale is the movie, but I digress.
Is that Shark or Shock?
I'm shocked by the cast, but it is Shark Tale, like the.
It is Shark Tale.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the Shark Tale. Here's what the shark's going to tell you, Robert. Shut the hell up. There you go. I was the shark for a second. Now, on the other hand, very quickly, Catherine and I watched A Christmas Carol last night, starring George C. Scott. Mm-hmm. That man was the greatest actor ever born. He nails that part of Ebenezer Scrooge like you wouldn't believe. My God, is he good in that movie. If you've never seen it, definitely watch it. And if you haven't seen it in a while, it's well worth watching again. Put Catherine and me in a really, really good mood. And it just, but you got all that, my world's falling apart. I love that stuff when they do that. But yeah, really, really good. Well, I've never seen A Christmas Carol, but his, I think, is the best ever because he is, well, there's so many people in it that are just terrific. Really, really good. Put you in the Christmas spirit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, everything's going well. So I suppose I could take a break here, come back. Some lame-os on the show next. I can't remember who it is, though. Can you remember?
I don't know, but I just know he's not as good as Judd.
Let me see. I guess, okay, we're going to drop off a notch with our next guest, from yesterday. But does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming, but what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Yeah, you should reach out to Josh because he really does. And I know a few of you have, and I do appreciate that because Josh does a hell of a job, and you're going to love it. And I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't true. So here's the deal. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. And thank you, by the way, to listeners of this show that did call Josh. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. And I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and ship issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
I have to say Merry Christmas to Jim Paul because Candy asked. I haven't heard from him about coming on the show, so I guess from a distance, I'll say Merry Christmas to you, sir, Jim Paul. My old friend for 40 years, but he won't come on the show because he knows I'll attack him. That's why. Let us take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. You've heard me talking about them for a long time now. When they opened in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. Well, a lot has changed since 1998. This commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities has not. So if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabankco.com or stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
What'd it be like, freaky deaky? Who used
Yes.
to say that all the time? Somebody used to say, hey, what'd it be like, freaky deaky? I can't remember. That wasn't Philip. No, it wasn't Philip. It was somebody else.
I used to sit next to Philip in the Metrodome Auxiliary press box my first year as an intern in sports media.
I adore Philip Wise. I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago. He's thinking about coming back and visiting, which I just hope he does. I adore the man. He's just one of the... Every time I did something, that he didn't like, this is exactly what he would do. He would go, Tommy. It's like, okay, Philip Wise. No, Phil, man, what a great guy he is. The story on the KQ Morning Show, they were coming after me big time, like I said, all the stuff that's in Wikipedia now that you looked at the last time you were on. And,
well, no, you guys looked at it. I just added a few.
Well, you brought it up.
Yeah. Oh, I like Kevin.
He goes, oh.
Roll the tape.
So I go over to the Byerly's because we were at 917 North Lilac Drive at that time, right on Highway 100. And Philip called me and goes, hey, Tommy, pick me up at the house because he lived about maybe a mile from the station, something like that. So I pick him up. We go over to Biley's there in Golden Valley. And before we get out, he goes, Tommy, whether you want me to or not, I'm coming on your show from now on because I ain't going to put up with these people treating you like this. That's how dear a friend that man was, and still is. I just adore the guy. Philly,
Where is he now?
He's in Las Vegas now.
Okay.
But he likes it here better, apparently.
Yeah.
You know, because, look, if you can run into Phil and Judd, why wouldn't you want to live here? You
have just as much of a chance to run into me in Vegas, I feel like, as Minneapolis.
Oh, you really go to Vegas a lot?
Go a couple times a year. The Mackies are good for a couple Vegas trips a year.
I used to, but I haven't been to Vegas in a long time. You know, by the way, if you play golf, there are some phenomenal golf courses in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't gone in a while. Maybe we should do a Tom Barnard Show Vegas trip like we used to, where people would fall down flights of stairs and things like that.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
One of the guys on the show showed up so drunk that he was mad at the world and picked up a glass and threw it across the stage.
Oh, okay.
So he was kind of showing the door.
Was it you?
Tevin, you want to
No,
take
it wasn't.
yes, you're-
I was gonna say, I think we can come in just under that bar. Like, we'll stay just sober enough to not.
Yeah, well, that's all I ask. Let me just tell you guys something.
Another thing.
I'll be about. Maybe we'll invite Tony Lee to come with us. He's got nothing to do right now. I talked to Tony a couple of days ago. He just got fired, of course. What a shock.
Yeah.
But, I mean, not for him on their side of things, but Tony used to be so interesting on those trips because he'd look at me like, what the hell's the matter with you?
Tony, Tony's like I was also texting with Tony on Monday.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah. So, Tony, because Tony came over to Hubbard like 12 or 13 years ago to be the main imaging producer and did a bunch of just creative stuff. And he actually helped us when we launched Score North back like 6 years ago. He did all of the audio imaging and production and stuff. And he's like the adult in the room, you know. At least he was for us. I don't know what he was like for you, but it was it's like a responsible, low key human that let's fall in line with Tony's vibe here.
No question about it. And I just we'll close with this because it made me laugh like a sumbitch. I had a friend named Muttel. Guess what religion Muttel was? Yes, he was a Jew.
Irish Catholic. Okay.
Yes, Irish Catholic named Muttel. But anyway, Muttel goes, Tommy, so who's the young guy on the show? What's his name? I said, Tony Lee. He goes, wasn't he a Jew? I said, yeah, just like you, he's a Jew. And he goes, who the hell ever heard of a Jew named Tony? Which I thought was phenomenal. That's like an Italian thing. What's he doing? Tony, we love you and we miss you. I got to track down a spot. Somebody should bring Tony back because he's such a nice man. Really great.
Tony's
guy.
Awesome, man. Love me some Tony Lee.
Yep. So what do you got, pal? Oh, well, so Tevin and AJ and Tom don't get any love. Tony Lee gets it all. Okay.
I love you guys too.
No,
I love you guys too.
But
I go back further with Tony. I go back further with Tony than I go with. I mean, I've listened to you longer than I've known Tony, but you know, someday I'll give you guys the nod of love on the podcast.
Someday it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, it is Kirk Cousins week here with the Falcons quarterback, former Vikings quarterback, coming back. So Sunday noon, Vikings Falcons. Kirk Cousins in the 64-year history of Vikings football, the third longest tenured Vikings quarterback in franchise history.
Really?
Fran Tarkenton played the most games. Tommy Kramer. And Kirk Cousins played the third most games as Viking starting quarterback. How about that?
I didn't know that. I had no idea that was true. God, that's amazing when you look at it that way.
Yeah. Well, there was a stretch from like the mid-90s till we got Kirk Cousins where we were throwing out anybody and everybody that we could. Like Donovan McNabb, Josh Freeman, Sam Bradford. Like the list is very, very long of obscure
Jim McMahon, Warren Moon, all these random guys.
You know who a good guy was? Didn't really have much success, but Rich Gannon was a really nice guy. I never met him as a player, but he was at a dinner at a friend of mine's house one night. You couldn't meet a nicer guy. Very pleasant.
I feel like we talked about him last football season on the show because I told you guys he used to be a weekly guest on the old Mackey and Judd radio show, and he would end every interview with, "You guys are the best," and we always felt special about that. And then I was listening to him on like a Kansas City radio station randomly, And he told those guys at the end of their interview, "You guys are the best." And I realized that that's just his tagline at the end of. And I like Rich Gannon, but he made us feel special by telling us, "You guys are the best." But he tells everyone they're the best.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is the best. There's no problem with that.
We don't know enough people.
Yeah,
you guys are pretty good. Not as good as those Minneapolis radio hosts.
I should tell you guys, by the way, I think this is good news for everybody involved. I got a notification from Spotify yesterday that our listenership is up 30% in the past year.
Nice.
So that's nice to hear.
Those Spotify end of the year recaps are both awesome and mildly creepy because it tells you like everything about your listening habits. And,
it does.
It's very invasive.
Yeah, I got a screenshot from one of our listeners of their Spotify Wrapped, and we're number 2, right behind Pardon My Take, and then we're above the Joe Rogan Experience for them. So
okay,
I mean, we might be onto something.
Pretty decent company.
Yeah. Joe, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
We're coming for Rogan.
Some guy sent me a thing like Purple Daily was his number 1, and he had spent like 11 full days listening to Purple, like the equivalent of. I said, yeah, that's loyal, man. I mean, you got to really be tolerating the two of us idiots talking Vikings every day to spend that much time consuming.
Well, I will tell you this, because I have such a wonderful life. I saw the Spotify. We're up 30%. Things are moving forward. Thing is wonderful. And thank you, by the way, to everybody who does listen, because it's just we're not going to make it without you. There's no question about that. And then, of course, the very next thing I was sent on Gmail was the 792 members of the I Hate Tom Barnard site.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it IHateTomBarnard.com, or how do we find this site?
Is it Tom Barnard? It might be TomBarnard.com, but IHateTomBarnard.com. I think that's right.
I believe it's .gov, actually.
Was it dot? Yeah, it's Tim
Facebook.
Walls.
I found it. It's on
it's Facebook? Okay, there you go.
Let's see here. But I feel like I can never log into my Facebook here.
Yeah,
it's always a whole process.
I don't know if that's a good idea anyway. But let me see. You see when it was started?
No, I can't see the...
Okay.
It's making me send myself a code just to log in.
No. It was started 8 years ago. Okay. There are 790. So you can't even do 100 members a year, which means you're failing miserably. But secondly, who was fired 8 years ago and blamed it on me and it wasn't my fault? Oh, that's right. It's always about that. Somebody took a punch, and it's got to be someone else's fault. And why? Because I was ahead of the show? It was my fault. So you can hate me all you want. By the way, to love somebody and to hate somebody shows great emotion, so thank you for all your emotion. That's very, very nice.
Yeah, you'd rather have people emoting. So let's see here. Oh, it's a private group. So I was hoping to read some of these hateful messages for entertainment purposes, but you have to join the group. They have to accept you as a member of the group, and then you can read. What if I was like a mole on behalf of the show? Could I infiltrate the official anti-Tom Barnard page? I will infiltrate, and then I will post like random positive messages about Tom and how great he is, and he's a great family man, and just see if they attack me.
You know what I do love about that? I'm supposed to get emotional about 790 people over 8 years that hate Tom Barnard. My father told me when I was 6 years old that he didn't like me. Which do you think hurt worse, that or what you just did?
Let's see if we can get it to 1,000. Come on, let's get it to 1,000.
Let's get her up to 1,000. And then I hate Tom Barnard.
I am able to read the about section. Sick of the crap he spews. Do you hate how he treats others? Do you dislike the changes he's made to the show? Or do you just think he's Satan? Come on in here and let her loose.
Satan. I am Satan. Wait a minute. I got to get some horns up here.
Oh, man. You know you've made it when there's an official anti-Tom Barnard page about you on Facebook. That's when you know you're...
One question. What you just read, was it signed Catherine Brandt?
Yeah. KB.
It's actually the admin for the group.
It was my wife.
The whole time. What's she doing? For 8 years, I've always wondered, what is she doing out there? She's on Facebook.
He's snoring again.
I was talking to Bernie Lauer yesterday, right? You know, Bernie's the sales manager of the whole group, isn't he? I mean, he's the head sales manager of all the Hubbard broadcasts and all that.
for the podcast. Yep.
And Bernie and I have become really pretty good friends. I really like Bernie. He's a great guy. And he finally opened up after 2 years. He goes, it's so great because we got a good relationship because, 2 years ago, everybody told me what a prick you are.
Who's everybody?
Look, there are certain people,
the group.
They're gonna, no matter who you are, if you're the head of the operation and somebody gets fired, it's your fault. Yeah. No matter what. They could literally shoot the United Healthcare guy in the back of the head, and if they get fired for it, it'll be my fault. Yeah. Well, I thought I was doing a favor to everybody, and then Tom ruined it.
Yeah, it does say Bernie is a member here of the anti-Tom Barnard Facebook group. So
yeah, there you go.
I don't know where he's getting his information from, but we have a pretty good guess now.
He joined yesterday. I got to be honest with you, and I'm not making this up because I don't have to make it up. I haven't run into one prick over at the Hubbard building. I mean, the people over there are pretty damn nice, don't you think?
They are almost 15 years for me. Right. The number is definitely more than 0 pricks that I've run into in 15 years. Okay. But it's lower than some other media companies for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. I suppose that is true. But everybody I've run into, no matter if they work at KS95 or, My Talk or whatever the situation is, everybody's been very, very nice to me. As a matter of fact, I've run into a couple of people out in public. They come over and give me a hug and, hey, Tom, it's great to have you, with the Hubbards. And everybody's been very nice. So shove that up your keister, all you over there with the 790.
That's right. The 797, technically, by the way. We're getting close to 800.
It's picked up a couple. It's picked up a couple since yesterday. So that's good. Now, one thing I should warn these people, I couldn't care less if you don't like me. I don't. Do I think I'm going to. How many people are there now in Minnesota? 5.5 million?
I think that sounds right, yeah.
5.5 million, and if only 798 can't stand me, that's pretty good by me.
Well, it's only 798 that actively went and chose to become a member of a Facebook group.
True.
Some of them are still closeted.
Like, to go that far, you have to really dislike someone. It's that's multiple steps, but it's an honor anyways.
Okay, I'm glad you brought it up that way, because I have a question for you. Do you dislike anyone you don't even know? I mean, I'm not talking about these big public figures because you're so exposed to them, but somebody who just maybe is, runs a business or does a radio show or whatever. Why would you hate somebody you don't even know?
I generally, not to get all philosophic, but I feel like we're all just kind of specks of dust on this fleeting planet for a brief moment in history, and I don't like to harbor. Like, for me to really hate or resent someone, I feel like it has to be some sort of personal relationship gone awry. And even then, why waste your feelings on that? Just enjoy your life.
I couldn't agree more. So, do you think they'll let me join that group that hates me?
I think you should try.
It'd be the greatest part of that. The first thing I would post on that I Hate Tom Barnard Facebook page is, you ought to see what's going on inside my head sometimes, folks, if you think you hate me.
You should definitely apply. You should apply to be a member.
I should.
And maybe your first post can just be like double middle fingers, a picture that we post on the wall. Just fight back.
I'd actually have to care, though, to do that, and I don't care.
Well, we'll take the picture. We'll handle it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get Judd. We'll get Phil to create that burner account, infiltrate the group as a Trojan horse, and then we'll just go live. Just MF everybody.
One thing about it is I look for I hate other people, that we hate this person.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find any other ones. I hope there are other ones. I'm hoping.
Let me just go into the Facebook search here. Give me a random.
You don't even do sports on the show anymore. You do the let's reveal Tom for what he really is.
Wikipedia, Facebook,
all of it.
Oh man,
it is a lot of fun, man. There's no question. But again, I wouldn't waste my energy hating anybody. It's a complete waste. You got seriously. Off of that page, if you think you're affecting me in any way, shape, or form, the only thing you're doing is making me laugh because I have had so many people over my career, 56 years now. I didn't really care. I don't care. What do I care? Good for you.
It's a weird industry, whether it's radio or podcast.
Sure.
We're basically like, we're trading attention. I mean, it sounds terrible, but if you give us your attention as a listener,
right,
that's good for us. Whether you hate listening for 3 hours or you love the person you're listening to. And I had a paradigm shift mentally. I used to get so mad when somebody would email like 15 years ago. And I was in my 20s, and like one email could just like ruin my day, you know? But then it sort of, someone sat me down. It's like, listen, whatever you just said, cause them to open up a device and send you like a 500-word email.
Yeah.
That's a win for you.
I agree.
Even if they hate you, you know?
I agree. So to wrap it up, I would say this. Dad, thank you for doing me the big, big favor of telling me you didn't like me when I was 6 years old, because I got used to it, and now I handle the world much better because of you.
And now you're impenetrable. You are a satanic force of
I'm a satanic force. That's exactly right. There's no question about it. But, you know, I love to tell a story and close with this as far as talking about this stuff is when my father was dying in the hospital, Mercy Hospital, and I hadn't seen him in years and all the rest of it, but he called me to come and see him. And I'm like, what the hell does he want to talk to me for? He told me he never liked me. What the hell? Well, I found out because I was now, you know, somewhat famous and had a few bucks, all of a sudden I was the guy that was going to get him out of the deathbed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, gee, Dad, thanks. You're
I don't have
clear
that much
thinker.
Power. Yeah.
Well, he did push him off the bed, but...
Oh, okay, so you did. You did have that much power.
I'm just kidding. I didn't really do that. But I did say to the priest when he died, he was a Baptist. My mother was Catholic, and my mother hated his guts, but she's still such a sweet woman. She sent a priest over to give him the last rites. And I will never forget it. My dad dies, and I'm standing there looking out the window, and the priest comes over and he goes, well, I'm sorry, but your father has passed away. And I said, Father, he probably had it coming.
Yeah.
And he ran away from me. He couldn't get away from me soon enough. It's like, settle down, Father. Everything's cool. What do you think of this game this weekend? Vikings got to win this game, I would think.
Well, this feels like Kirk Cousins' Super Bowl here. You know, he didn't get the contract he wanted from the Vikings, and there's probably some perceived slight there. The Vikings have moved on. Not only just moved on from him, but like they've thrived after moving on from him. They are 10-2. Sam Darnold is cheaper and playing better.
Yeah.
So Cousins has been awful over the past month for the Falcons, and there's a lot of chatter about maybe him getting benched for the rookie they drafted. So the only scary thing about this game, the Vikings are better, and they're playing at home, and they're like 6-point favorites. But Kirk Cousins, a little motivation, a noon game, kind of tucked away. And he knows this defense from practicing against it last year, so I could see a resurgence from old Kirky boy on Sunday. I think the Vikings win, but I could see Kirk playing well.
He does have the ability. I mean, that is a fact. He's got a good arm and all that stuff. He's got the ability, but I just don't. He's never been able to put it together.
Yeah, not fully. No, I mean, every once in a while for a noon game or whatever. But yeah, what is he? 35? He's 36, I think. And
is he really?
He has one playoff win in his entire career. Yeah.
One playoff win.
Yeah.
You know what's really sad about that? Realizing my son is 2 years older than he is. and he's 38.
And there's only one playoff win behind him. Yeah.
Exactly. Doesn't make as much money, though. I got to be honest with you about that. Andy does well, but not that well.
Yeah.
All right, Pally, what are you going to do this weekend?
Well, it's a big weekend of big college football championship games. I think we're going to – actually, you know what? I'm going to try and see the movie Wicked this weekend.
I heard it's
first
good.
Time. Never seen any variation of Wicked, so maybe I'll report back in full next week for you guys.
On Monday, the report from Phil Mackey, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be riding a broom.
You what?
I'll be riding a broom into the Monday show, is what I'm saying.
AJ said some smart ass thing, but we couldn't hear him.
Oh, I said in a full musical number. He's just coming in.
That's right. Yeah.
Choreographed, a full set behind him.
All right, Pally, we'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, you guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Phil, Chris said to turn in your man card for going.
For Wicked?
Oh, my God. Chris.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I turned my man card in 20 years ago when I saw How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days in theaters twice.
Chris is talking.
It's been gone for 20 years.
Oh, my God. Go away. I'm deeply upset. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Mackey from Score North.